snakes.
That's
That was my Magna Carta. That was it. I don't know if
They
I can
feed them
tell.
live mice. It's disturbing.
Yeah, it's just I can't handle it. Okay, it's time for Lead Block.
Lead block.
Yeah, let's talk about the most entertaining division in the NFL, Jazz hands, according to Nate Burleson.
That's right.
It's the NFC East. Jerry Jones was asked yesterday if the division is totally wide open, or does he see a clear favorite?
Well, I'm impressed with the Washington football team, and should be. They've beat us handedly 2 times, and that says about all I can say right there. They've got a solid defensive front, and obviously in Philadelphia, but speak to the Cowboys, that plays against where we've got some weakness right now in our offensive fronts.
Jerry Jones there giving some love to the Washington football squad. Cynthia Freeland, let's give her some love. She ran the numbers, guys. Get ready to get your minds blown here. She simulated the rest of the season 100,000 times per remaining game, and 31.5% of the time the Washington football team wins the division. It's so close between these 4 teams. That's what that means. I don't know what that means. I had to look it over like 19 different times.
nailed it.
Yeah, TI-89 calculator, the whole bit. Abacus is just flying before the show. Who will be the difference maker in the NFC East, KB?
I think you got to just look at these quarterbacks and who are we going to ride with down the final month of the season. Bring them up. Bring up these quarterbacks. These are the 4 gentlemen. Daniel Jones is hurt. This is it. I'm going with the guy on the far left. If you're going to make it this simple, Alex Smith has been into the playoffs. He's been around forever. He's played with everyone. He's played under. Carson Wentz right now, guys, leads the NFL in interceptions. I'm going to cross him out. It's woeful right now. Andy Dalton is fine. Andy Dalton is Andy Dalton. We know his resume. We know his dossier. It is what it is. Colt McCoy is a great story and a good person. He's 7-21 as a starter. He's going to take the New York Giants while Daniel Jones heals. It's almost like default. I'm not doing backflips for Alex Smith. I don't love it. He doesn't light me up. But I think he's a steady hand who has an established head coach, a great defense, and a running game. I know we're talking meat and potatoes football here, but since the smorgasbord is so light in the NFC East, you look for some tangible carbohydrates, and I think that they have them. Terry McLaurin might be playing the best receiver in the division. I'm going with Washington. I just kind of stumbled onto it earlier this week. I didn't know I liked them. I didn't know I loved them. But then how do you watch them against Dallas on Thanksgiving Day and be like, I don't know, I think Dallas could still do it. I gave up on Philly. I wonder if somebody else at this table is going to give up on Dallas.
No, because I watched that game on Thanksgiving Day, and it's 20-16 in the 4th quarter, and the Cowboys have stopped Washington 3 straight times. And all you got to do is punt, stop them again, get the ball back, and let's bring up the play. Mike McCarthy calls a fake punt, down 4 in the 4th quarter from his own 20, and then it's over. Antonio Gibson scores 2 touchdowns after that point. Then Montez Sweat has the touchdown. And what's so maddening for me with the Cowboys is that the talent is on the field. We see the highlights. It's almost like the coaching is getting in the way sometimes. I know that sounds really insulting to Mike McCarthy because I think he is a good head coach. And he is a good. There might have been some overcoaching on this. And it's not the first time. Week 1, 4th down. They're down a score. They decide to go for it. It's short. The Rams take over. The Rams then go on to win the game. Like, a field goal in this situation would have been just fine. All right, well then surely that's it, right? Week 2, there were multiple. This is week 2. This is not a Thanksgiving Day replay. This is week 2 against the Falcons, a game they won. But gosh, did they do everything in their power to try to give this one away with some strange decisions. 2 different failed fake punts. It's head scratching. If you're a Cowboys fan, you're like, do less, and then on 4th down when a field goal would have been just fine here, they stop. So here's what, to me, Dan Quinn is celebrating. Of course, we know his fate. Mike McCarthy, to me, we're loving the smashing the watermelons, and as Rodgers and LaFleur are giggling and loving things, and life has never been greater in Green Bay, Mike McCarthy has 5 weeks left here to maybe do less, to maybe do more. But the Cowboys still have the most talented roster in the NFC East, top to bottom. There are superstars on that field. If Mike McCarthy can cobble this thing together, the Cowboys have the most favorable schedule left. I still think there's a chance they're hosting a January playoff game.
All right, so Kyle, you said it's about the quarterbacks. Well, let me talk about the quarterback for the New York Giants.
Okay.
Eli Manning. And you're saying, hey, whoa, what are you talking about? I feel like Eli Manning is going to be the reason why the Giants find some motivation. Why? Is he the difference maker? Take you back to 2011. Do you guys remember that season? Sure. Why is it significant? Not just because they won the Super Bowl. Do you remember their record? They were 9-7. Now, I'm not saying that the Giants are going to win out and be 9-7. What if they're 8-8? Who cares? What if they're 7-9? We know that the record coming out of this division isn't going to be something that a team looks at. Now, listen. I said that this might be the most exciting division. I say that one of these teams could get into the tournament and flip the table over. We're familiar with the Super Bowl run. We're familiar with them beating the Patriots. But do you remember that divisional game, the highlights we just showed, up against the Green Bay Packers? I know you're saying, there's the Chiefs and then there's the Steelers this year, and you know the Saints are really good. But there's all these different teams that you love to promote because that's what we do here on the show. Yeah. But here's Eli Manning right there. Way to go, G-Man. First place, baby. Heal up quickly, DJ. All right, so say we're looking at the Saints out of the NFC, right? Say we're looking at one of these squads that we have been praising all season long, and they face a team that has nothing to lose, just like the New York Giants that were 9-7 and faced the 15-1 Green Bay Packers.
Might be the Packers again this year.
I remember it might be the Packers again, and I remember watching that game, and I thought to myself, there is no way. There is no way in HE double hockey sticks that this Giants team is going to beat these, and they did. So I'm not saying that's going to happen. All I'm saying is don't write off a team coming out of the NFC East.
That applies to all four teams or just the Giants right now?
I'm showing the Giants love because I just kind of, out of nowhere, I fell in love with them, and I'm going to stick with them.
You really did.
And
you did.
And I do believe it's any team, though, because every team has a different type of motivation. And all of these teams have hype. What kind of hardship? And I know every team has dealt with injuries and COVID. Yeah. I'm not saying everybody has had an easy ride. But what type of hardship has these teams dealt with? The NFC East, they've dealt with some tough stuff. Dak snapping his ankle in front of the world. You got the Washington football team. Alex Smith almost lost his leg.
New coach amidst all this. It's crazy.
I just feel like this NFC East, don't write it off quite yet. Until they're booted out of the playoffs, keep cracking those jokes. You might end up being the joke.
Well, none of the three of you guys mentioned the Eagles, and I'm sure their hardship is that they don't have Miles Sanders as a running back on their team. Oh, yes, they do. They do, and they don't use him. Let's talk about this for a second. It's not as if the run game isn't working. I can't wrap my head around why they aren't using it. Miles Sanders is averaging 5.6 yards per carry. Him having 6 carries the other night is inexcusable. Inexcusable behavior. They have the Packers on the docket this week. If they do not run the ball, I do not know what to tell you. I'm not even the only one who thinks that. Brian Westbrook, friend of the show, Eagles, great running back, also saying, wow, I sure wish we could see more of Miles Sanders offensively. To put it into perspective, guys, the Eagles are 28th in the NFL in rushing attempts, but 13th in yards. It is working when they go to the ground. Maybe without top quality quarterback play, maybe without great defense, I don't know. The Eagles still have a chance in this thing if they use Miles Sanders. Why aren't they? It's super frustrating.
I was going to say, yesterday we came on the show. I wasn't sure if Doug Peterson was going to be the coach by the end of the day. That's how bad that offensive performance was. Miles Sanders had 6 carries for 15 yards. He's one of the best running backs in football.
It goes by Booby Miles. And if you want to win, you put Booby in.
Put Booby in. Always, as they say, Friday Night Lights. That's all I'm in.
They're less than a game away, the Eagles. Find a way, and maybe it's on the ground. Let's bring in Ian Rappaport. Ian, we do have a game this afternoon, 3:40 p.m. Kickoff, Ravens and Steelers. That's Eastern time. What is the league going to be watching for from now until then in this sort of wild 3-time postponement of this epic historical matchup?
The most epic game to have yet to be played, and quite a week it has been for both of these teams, but they are not completely out of the woods yet. Both teams are going to have a point of care, a coronavirus test earlier this morning. If those are all clear, those are the rapid tests. If those are all clear, then this game will go on at 3:40. The reason it's 3:40, by the way, is so not to interfere with the NBC affiliates airing of the Rockefeller Center tree lighting, which is obviously very important. This whole thing is weird, but a football game is going to be played. As far as the Ravens, as they were taking off yesterday, they learned that 2 people, 1 support staffer and 1 little-used reserve player, had tested positive for COVID-19, but that does not mean that the game is off. This is actually something that the NFL had been monitoring. This player was considered to be a risk, and though he did participate in the socially distanced walkthrough over a couple days, he was not deemed to be at risk with his teammates, so they did fly. He didn't, but the team did fly for their game today. It is going to be a skeleton squad for the Ravens, more than 10 starters. They still are not going to have. The other thing I should mention, Kay, is J.K. Dobbins and Mark Ingram are eligible to come off the COVID-19 reserve list today. That does not necessarily mean that they will if both these guys continue to test negative. If they don't have symptoms, only then will they be able to be activated. Still no sure thing yet for Baltimore.
And when would we find out about Mark Ingram and all of this? It'll be like 90 minutes till kickoff, so around 2 Eastern. I'm sure everyone wants to stay on NFL Network and find out what's going on.
Well, I'll tell you, 12:30 today is the deadline to activate players from the COVID-19 reserve list. A rare 12:30 deadline imposed by the league on both teams.
Just a couple more days until 2021, Ian. Thank you so much. Big Ben and the undefeated Steelers got a matchup with the Ravens.